Hi, I'm Elisa Wood. I'm the editor-in-chief at Microgrid Knowledge, and I'm here in San Diego at Microgrid 2019 with Mike Bakas, who's the executive vice president at Ameresco. He's here to talk to us about campus microgrids. Hi, Mike. How are you today?
Lisa, how are you?
Great to see you here. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about campus microgrids because we're hearing about more and more campuses building microgrids. What's the impetus for this?
Well, I think a lot of campuses, and whether it's healthcare or higher ed or other industrial uses, are trying to leverage microgrids to address the potential resiliency challenges they have, sustainability goals, and quite frankly, as we see the evolving energy markets, be a hedge against the volatility that we're seeing on the demand side.
So a lot of these colleges have very aggressive sustainability goals, and a lot of them also have combined heat and power plants. How can they have both of these, a goal maybe to achieve 100% green energy and also take advantage of the efficiencies of combined heat and power?
It's a great question. In a lot of campus environments, especially higher ed, typically more than half their carbon footprint comes from the combustion of fossil fuel. One way to address this, especially with cogeneration, is to actually use renewable natural gas to displace the fossil fuel and essentially green the output from their generation facility, which is kind of cool because we're also seeing a lot of higher ed folks installing electric charging stations. And everyone thinks that's green, but the reality is you have to go upstream to see where is the actual fuel source that's creating the electricity. By using renewable natural gas to generate both electric and thermal, and then use that electricity as the charging for the charging stations for electric vehicles, they're truly getting green from end to end.
What is renewable natural gas?
It's typically a byproduct of a human-made resource, if you would, biogas from a wastewater treatment plant, biogas from a landfill, generated into the environment, currently in the environment, and we would process that gas into a natural gas product and inject it into the interstate pipeline and transport it anywhere in the country to offset the idea of going to a sequestered product, that being natural gas, and pulling it from the ground. So we're reusing, if you would, this product that's already in the environment, instead of allowing it to go to the ozone and have a material effect. Biogas or methane that is part of biogas is 21 times that more potent than CO2, the reference gas for global warming. So think about that. Every molecule of methane that we pull out of the environment and reuse has a material impact to the environment.
And renewable natural gas actually displaces natural gas in the pipelines.
That's correct.
So we can, as you said, you don't have to be near a waste treatment facility in order to use it. You could be somewhere else.
Once we get into the natural gas pipeline, we can the infrastructure is in place to deliver it virtually anywhere. And again, remember the concept that you have natural gas that's already kind of sequestered in the Earth's crust, if you would, or below the ground. And instead of extracting that and introducing that as a new carbon impact to the environment, we're keeping that sequestered and taking biogas that's already in the environment and reusing it.
Interesting. So let's segue back to college campuses. Tell me a little bit about, how can college campuses even afford to put in a microgrid? Because budgets are constrained. Everybody's, trying to figure out where they can actually cut. How can they afford this new technology?
We're seeing a lot more campus environments, higher ed especially, leverage energy performance contracts to do that. So when you think about the key stakeholders in deciding whether to do a microgrid or not, you have the technical stakeholders that are typically your facility operations, and their primary goal is to ensure that the facility has resiliency, is always up and running. So it checks the box for a lot of things that microgrid's going to offer, in addition to sustainability goals and the hedge against the volatile energy markets. And when you look at the economic stakeholders, they're more interested in how we're going to pay for it and what's the value and what's the return on that investment. By essentially implementing these projects under an energy savings project, you're extracting savings from the operational side of the house, leveraging that to essentially pay for the capital investment. So in many universities, they're using third-party money, so they don't have to even put up the capital. and the energy savings that is being extracted from paying the utility is now going to fund or service that investment.
So I could potentially develop a microgrid at my university without actually having to put any capital into it of my own. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Well, it's a great way to hit all the different concerns of the stakeholders. So now you don't necessarily have to value or put a hard number on what is a microgrid worth to the university and how you justify that investment. Quite frankly, the microgrid acts as the glue to some extent of pulling all these distributed energy resources together to help optimize those other investments, whether it's the CHP or battery storage or solar.
So I may be better off putting in a microgrid than just putting in a solar array, for example, financially, because I can use the microgrid to leverage the solar array in the markets.
The microgrid ultimately integrates all these resources to optimize its dispatching.
Okay.
And quite frankly, it also sets the university up to be able to, at times, sell back resources to the ISO, generating other ancillary revenues to help support the original investment.
And you're an employer, so I know that some of these universities are also using the microgrids as learning labs. So what does that mean to a student, say, who comes to Ameresco and wants to work there? I mean, how would you view somebody who's been at a school with a microgrid and worked on the microgrid?
It's a game changer. I mean, when you have a student that's been working on an integrated microgrid with all the distributed energy resources hanging off of it for 2-3 years, the ramp-up time is immediate. You don't have to go out and essentially educate that student. They're already ahead of the game. So they'll take a preference on the hiring side.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.